Eileen Avad, I got to open with you today. And Eileen, how you doing, my friend, and what's going on?
Oh, thank you, Ed, and good morning, everybody, or good evening. It's been a great year starting up for 2022. I have big plan for myself and business, so it's been great. One of my favorite thing is family. Everything is family. Whatever I do, it's all family. So I just feel great plan for 2022, family and business.
Now, that brings me to my first question to kick things off. What are your big, awesome plans for 2022, Eileen Avad?
Oh, thank you very much, Ed. 2022, we have planned for business and transitions, and it's about talking about succession planning. And you're never too early to plan for succession, because people think that you plan succession is when you are in retirement. So I just want to bust the myth that business succession is not about retirement. It's about really thinking that planning for that is really an asset. It's about setting you up for life. So I am just so passionate just to really saying that do not think because you start planning successions, have your end in mind that your retirement is coming, but really be so ready for it. It's an asset. So that's what I'm so pumped about for 2022.
Now, even though you've been so positive, I'm going to try and pop your balloon now, which is very bad of me, but I'm here to bring a bit of reality today.
That's okay.
Do you worry that you won't achieve your plans?
Probably, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. Because if we think that we need to have everything in place, if we think that we need to take off every goal, then there's so much pressure and stress on ourselves. And if you, then you'll be constantly worried and chasing your tail. So sorry, I'm trying always to say put a spin into it, because even if you don't achieve your goal, what is the lessons you learn along the journey? Do you face your frustrations? How do you handle your stress? How do you handle the people around you? Do you let out your frustration around them? Or do you say, what could I learn from it? So my thing is that I probably will not achieve my goal, but it's okay. It's okay.
Oh my God, you did such a good explanation. I don't need to ask any follow-up questions. Can we give a round of applause to Eileen Avad? And Eileen's amazing. Now we're going to bounce over to the amazing Holly Smith. As truth be known, Holly Smith is amazing. She can post up on LinkedIn. She'll get more views than me. She's conquered LinkedIn. She's taking over the place, and she is a lady on an absolute mission. And Holly, I'm so honoured to have you with us. How have you been?
Been so awesome, Ed. Thanks so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, Holly, you are a global influencer and fitness star. I want to ask you, what are your big plans for 2022?
Well, my big plans are to, I guess, help as many people as I possibly can, but in scale. But I think the biggest thing, and I haven't actually talked about it at all on social media yet, so only very few people know, is that it's been a 2-year process, and my book will be launched. So I've written a book.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a 2-year process, long process, just because you still grow as a person, you know. Anyway, it's called 30 Days to Happiness. It's 30 days, 30 habits to basically be happy. Simple as that. So it starts like super deep, surface level. So it goes like obviously what you eat, people you surround yourself with, all that kind of jazz. And then it goes deeper, 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 almost into the philosophy of like, you know, financial happiness, like your purpose, your values, and all that kind of jazz. So you're supposed to read like, you know, 30 days, 1 chapter a day, and then you're supposed to repeat it for a whole year. So that's how it's done to your subconscious mind, and you start living the habits subconsciously. So yeah, that's the book.
Now again, this is great. We're going to come back to the book. This is the first I'm aware of it. People are already asking how to buy it or pre-order. So if you just pop in the link so people can buy your book.
It will be up soon.
Yeah, so there you go. So you've got customers bashing down your door as usual. And that's why we love you, Holly. Now, Holly,
thank you.
I want to ask you this, right? Obviously, yeah, you're going in heavy book mode. Do you ever worry about failure?
I don't, because I just have always known in myself that if I want to do anything, I'll make it happen. And the thing is, if you have a strategic plan in place, you just can't fail unless you're holding yourself back. But it's also important to also have that, as Eileen was saying, and when she was saying, like, it's not a bad thing. It's like, if you do feel like you're going to fail, that drive also pushes you to make sure you don't, or to hold yourself accountable. If you say you're going to do something, that's why it's the power of, like, telling people, what you're going to do is super beneficial, because you got to stick to that standard, which means you don't want to fail. You don't want to let yourself down. You don't want to let the community down, So I think you can use failure as different ways, like that feeling, but no, I'm not scared of failing.
And what if you're following your plan and you're not getting the results you want? What do you do in that situation, Holly?
Well, then I don't do it myself. I reach out for help. Simple as that. Like, a lot of people will continue doing what they're doing, just the same thing over and over again, and it's not working. Or, I've been in multiple situations, I'm sure we all have, where we've tried something, it hasn't worked, and we stress out. We're like, what do I do with my life? Blah, blah, blah. We put all this money and effort, sweat and tears into something, and it doesn't work. Then you just have to take a step back. You have to go on a holiday, get some clarity, and get some help.
Oh my God.
That's how I always live my life.
It's so well said, Holly. We absolutely love you. Can we give a round of applause to Holly? Now, we're going to bounce over to Elizabeth Houghton in a moment. But before we do, we've got Master Coach Sonia coming. If we could wave out to Master Coach Sonia, one of our panelists. Sonia, we love you and we'll come back to you. And we're going to bounce over to amazing Elizabeth Houghton, then Karen Clark. And Elizabeth, I just got to say this as well. You and I are half the people we were 6 months ago, aren't we? Every time I see you, we're all both slimmer, aren't we, Elizabeth?
We are. We're doing well. We're smashing our goals. Obviously, listening to all of Holly's content on social media to keep us going on our fitness and health goals.
Oh, look, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. And Elizabeth, I love your inspiration. Now, firstly, before I ask about you, what are some of your reactions to what Eileen and Holly have said so far, Elizabeth?
Oh, I think amazing advice, fantastic goals to be having and working towards, and knowing so early on in the year what it is you want to achieve. And obviously, Holly is already 2 years into this journey, and it's now the next stage of her goal in delivering that and turning that into a reality. And she's got her customers right there in the chat wanting to buy her book. And succession planning, like, it's so important if you own your own business, of how are you really going to be setting yourself up for the future and to continue past this year and next year, and what is that plan, and the stuff around failure and how you overcome it. And I really loved what Holly said about not worrying about failure, and just knowing that you can always reach out for help if you're doing something and it's not working. Well, you need to change your game plan, and that's really powerful.
Wow. So, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about you and what are your big plans for 2022?
I have so many plans for 2022. I actually sat down with one of my girlfriends. So I have an accountability buddy, and we got together at the back end of last year and wrote out of our list of intentions for this year. And there's a real mix for me there in terms of personal and business. So business growth is help as many people as I can, continue to show up to my community, and to continue to help people to realize that they don't have to hate their jobs. They can do stuff they love, and guide them through helping that. So continue on that mission of helping as many people as I can in that space. And then from a personal perspective for me, as some of you may know if you're on the call, last month, I'm actually going back home for an extended period of time. And that's really important for me to kind of go and get that clarity and refresh and reconnect with my family after 2.5 years of not physically seeing them. So my year's kind of split into two, really. The first half is all about me, focusing on me, and the second half will be all about my business growth and how I can continue to support my community.
Well, so just on that note, you live in Australia. We live not too far away, and you're off to the beautiful United Kingdom for a while to visit your family. Is that right?
I am, yes. So leaving this Aussie summer, although we're not having much of one, it's raining where I am today, to go straight into like -2 degrees in the UK in a couple of weeks.
Now, quick question before we move on to quantum coach Karen Clark. I just want to ask you, what if you fail this year?
Oh, this year, if we're just going to go for the last 3 weeks, nothing. But last year, I have really big, hairy, ambitious goals, and I set myself very large, stretched kind of targets every year. And I've done the same for this year, and I didn't hit all of them. I didn't grow my Instagram following in the way I wanted to. I didn't hit my revenue goal every single month. But having that really big stretch goal continues to push me and continues to make me kind of do what Holly said around stepping back and refining that clarity and trying different things to push you to keep achieving that goal.
Oh, I love it because, I achieved some of my goals last year, some I didn't. I find you're right. We've got to keep doing what we're doing, but then we've got to sit back and say, is this working? What must we change?
And then like on that as well, I think it's really important if you are someone who sets annual goals, to check back in with them every 3 months. Do they still fill you with excitement? Are they still the right goal for you? Because like Holly said with writing her book, you change through the process, you continue to grow. And we do that throughout a year as well. So if we've set something for ourselves on the 1st of January, check back in on that in a couple of months' time. Reread it. Does it still fill you with excitement? Is it still something you actually want to achieve? Because it might be that it's not. It might be that something else in your life has changed, or you've grown and it's actually not that important for you. And that's okay. You can push it to a side. If it stops being important to you, stop going after it, because it's wasted effort, because you're not going to feel any sense of achievement or want to achieve it.
Excellent. That's amazing, Elizabeth. Could we give a round of applause to Elizabeth? We're going to bounce over to quantum coach Karen Clark in the moment, and then master coach Sonia. But just before we do, I just want to talk to our wonderful audience. Thank you again for coming. We really appreciate having you here. And if you're watching the recording as well, make sure you connect with these wonderful ladies and winners. Now, if you're in the audience as well, please feel free to share your LinkedIn links in the chat. Feel free to network as well as ask amazing questions and contributions to the audience. So I just want to say a big thank you to our audience. 30 of you winners around the world, and we absolutely love you. So I just want to say a big thank you to Elizabeth. Now, we're going to bounce over to quantum coach Karen Clark. And quantum coach Karen Clark is extremely amazing. Now, I'm a bit of a Star Trek nerd. And in the Star Trek universe, the most dangerous weapon is the quantum torpedo. So if there's any Star Trek nerds here, we know the quantum torpedo is the most dangerous weapon. Yep, Sheila's with me. They can take down a Borg cube in just 2 or 3 shots. So like a quantum torpedo, a Borg killer, we've got quantum coach Karen Clark with us. How are you, Karen Clark?
I'm dangerous, Ed. I'm great, thank you. I'm really good. I'm really feel honoured and privileged to be here on this panel. So there's a lot of people here. I'm very excited to hear everyone else's comments and to be here with you all.
A pleasure. Before we dig into you, I'd love to hear your reactions to Eileen, Holly and Elizabeth so far. What are some of your thoughts and reactions?
Yeah, so I love, first of all, I'll start with Elizabeth because she was the last, and I just love what she says about things like, check in with your goals and your dreams and make sure they still relate to how it is that you would like to have your life. And that's so true. We have a 5-test questionnaire that we apply to people's dreams even as soon as vision when they write it. And, it's like, does it give you life? Do you get up in the morning and just feel like you can't wait to get on with the day? And does it align with your core values? And will it make you grow? And do you need help from a higher power? And is there good in it for others? Those are the 5 questions. And so it's really important to check in with that, on a frequent basis and make sure that what you're putting your time and energy into is actually your soul's purpose, if you like. So I love the talk about purpose, the talk about a lot of people have referred to helping others, helping our tribe or helping our clients or helping others to achieve what they want. And, it's known that all the most successful people as well are people who have been instrumental and actually had their focuses on helping others to be successful. So it sounds like we've all got a lot of synergy between us and what we want to do this year. And I love hearing the other coaches and boss ladies giving their answers to your questions. It's been really inspirational.
Now we love it. Now, quantum coach Karen Clark, what are your big, amazing goals for 2022?
Well, yeah, I want to play a much bigger game this year. I choose to play a much bigger game this year. And I want to focus on my big picture vision, which is to coach through my programs more than 100 people this year. And then to reach many, many more people through helping them by maybe coming on a webinar or, having some kind of interaction to start to change the way they think. So I'm looking at maybe 500 people that I will impact personally through one thing or another. So I want to include, I'm pretty sure I'm going to add men to my client base this year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start doing, I'm already doing weekly webinars. I'm going to start doing monthly interaction vision workshops to help people create that vision that we've all been talking about, create the big picture and learn how to bring it to fruition. So, you know, what I teach through my quantum technology is that we design the life we want and then we learn how to bring it to fruition, because as soon as we think it up, it exists in the quantum realm. And that's what most people don't understand.
Now, Karen, apologies for the negative question, but it's my job to ask you. If you fail, I don't think you will, but let's say you did, how will you handle failure? Not that I think you will fail, but how would you handle it if you did?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to say there aren't times when I don't maybe get a bit down or feel like I'm an imposter or doubt myself and my ability, because that's human. And I've got a support system to deal with that. And you are one of them. Ed, you said, get in touch with me if you have that, you know, like blah, blah, blah. As far as failure goes, I actually don't believe in failure. And we teach, well, that's one of the things we teach, is that there's no such thing as failure. It's all feedback. It's feedback from the universe so that we can learn something and change something if something's not working. Every challenge is an opportunity for me to learn something. And believe you me, I've had many in my life. You name it, virtually, I've experienced it throughout my personal and business life. However, what it's done is it's built my resilience, and it's taught me to have some empathy for what's the word I'm looking for? To have some understanding around other people going through those challenges. So I don't believe in failure. I believe that everything gives us some learning and some valuable gifts through that.
Absolutely. It's amazing you mentioned that, actually, because I love your reframe on failure, which I agree with. And I remember I actually ran a workshop, a face-to-face meetup with 50 people. I actually got up in front of the room and said, I'm the biggest loser in the room. There is no one that has failed more than me. I'm the biggest failure. And a few people actually got angry and said, no, I failed more than you. And I said, no, I'm a bigger loser than you. No, Ed, I'm more of a loser than you. So we had this reversal fight, whereas basically if you failed more, you're the winner of the room. So it was really funny. All these male egos, a race to the bottom was quite funny. I know you'd love that. Now, Karen, I'm going to say you're absolutely amazing. Can we give Karen a round of applause? We'll come back to you, Karen. Now, we're going to bounce over to Master Coach Sonia just now. And I just want to say a big thank you again, our audience. Thank you so much for being here. If you're in our audience, please keep connecting, use LinkedIn, leave some great comments for the wonderful boss ladies. And as well, for those watching the recording, make sure you connect with everyone. So it's an honourable pleasure having you with us. So now it is Master Coach Sonia time. And Sonia, so good having you with us. What is happening in the realm of Master Coach Sonia?
Hi. I am so happy to be here and see everybody. I'm so glad 2021 is behind us. And Ed, I don't know if you asked me a question. I just kind of jumped right in on what you were saying. So, oh, okay. Well, I have really had an enlightening last couple months with just a super group of people. This group is one of my groups. I just can't thank you all enough, because I have really taken in what I have learned from all of you, and I've applied it. And I have a coach, Emmy. I'm not sure if some of you know her. I've known her for over a year and a half now, and she picked me up at a time in my life where I had someone in my life that we call Voldemort. And my health coach is on here with me, Sheila. I like to shout out to her. This person really about destroyed me, and Emmy came along and really lifted me back up to be your own hero coach that I want to be. And I in a way, kind of reinvented myself to who I love. I didn't love that person. And so I'm really thankful for each and every one of you for touching my life. And because of, getting my confidence back and getting my focus, I have been blessed with a vision to figure out a way how I can flip my business to be 80% coaching rather than service. And I've done that in less than a month. I did it in December, and I was so busy that I wasn't quite ready for it to happen. But when it did, I was able to marry my services together, which my print branding, resume, all that for professionals, with my coaching. And I'm telling you what, it was like a light bulb went off my head after, the sessions that we have each month. And then just doing a lot of the work on my own. I have really just taken everything that I have learned and put it in front of me and made it on my to-do list and organized it and formed a program that I created a career GPS navigational system for my clients. And I didn't know that this GPS was actually for me to help me find my way to navigate toward my dream career.
So if I can jump in, Master Coach, so you're saying by you helping your clients and community, you are helping yourself.
Yes. And, because we're also really unselfish. We give and give and give to everybody else, that sometimes we don't take time for ourselves. And I got lost in all that. And so I feel like I was reborn. And I owe thanks to, a lot of people here and to a lot of my other coaching peers. And it's been a blessing.
Just on that, Sonia, I guess the theme you're saying is that when you're lost or you hit failure, you reach out to other people for help. Is that much like what Holly was saying?
Yes. Where are you, Holly?
There she is.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because if we get too far inside ourselves, we close everything off.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we're not breathing. And if you don't breathe, you're not going to live. And so you got to open up and get your perspective back. And I got my lifeline back. And now I have many lifelines. And so it's been a mad 30 days. I have designed from that career GPS evolved my Dream Career Solutions program, where I married all my services. And I had some people come to my masterclass I offered, and I only had 3 people show up, but all 3 signed up. And that's where it started. And then I did a Design Your Dream Year. So when we were going to talk about this today, I thought, wow, this is the universe coming back.
So perfect timing. Master Coach Sonia, we're going to bounce over Eileen, but please share your links. Can we give a round of applause to Master Coach Sonia? And I was going to say to all our panelists, please feel free to share your links in your programs, and to all our wonderful attendees, thank you again. Feel free to share your links and connect with each other as well. So we love your work, Master Coach Sonia. I'm going to come right back to you, but please share all your links. Now we're going to bounce back to the amazing Eileen Avad. Now, Eileen Avad is an amazing and powerful lady, and we have many, many chats all the time. Now, Eileen, I wanted to ask you, what are your reactions and thoughts to all the wonderful thoughts and ideas you've heard so far, Eileen?
Yes, I really liked their view about visions and values. If I'm having a future plan, it's about when you take care of other people, when you want to help other people, one of the greatest assets of it is that you actually end up helping yourself. Because in in helping them to solve their problem, you find the answers to your issues and you elevate you to the next level of growth. And really, very important is that focus on what's important to you, focus on what's other people, but important thing is about values, because value is what you focus, your energy goes, and what you focus, expand. And it's about doing things more on a conscious level rather than be steered by your unconscious that sometimes drains all your energy. And when I'm hearing all these people talking about their plans or having a coach to guide them, because there's a lot of things that you on your blind spot. When you have a coach who help you, they hear the things that you miss out. So, and that to me is so important. And have an accountability body, have a coach, and really share with them your dreams and help them to expand and grow.
Oh my God, amazing and well said. Now, Eileen, I'm going to continue asking more darker questions, which is my sinister job. Now, this is coming from me. My business has been, I'm winning big time and thank you, but boy, my business has taken disruptions. It's sort of like, I've had disruptions nonstop. Now, I want to ask you that question, Eileen. How do you personally handle disruptions to your business and your life?
How do I handle disruptions personally to my life and in business?
Yes.
My top priority, everything comes back to family. Everything comes back to family. My top priority, if I can get my family right, if I can set and create harmony within my family and myself, the lessons I learned from there, I'd apply it to other people, because every client I work with, every business I work with, they are my immediate family. And disruptions is about not having it perfect. It's not having perfection. The perfection is you never, excuse me, you never achieve perfection. It is about having a high standard, and you never stop until you strive to reach your goal. And it's about how could you bring other people in, even if you have disruption. Because when you can handle disruptions in your life and still can accommodate people like what they see, they like to learn.
Ooh, that's amazing, Eileen Avad. There you go, powerful. Can we give a round of applause to Eileen Avad? And Eileen, big thank you. We'll give you a voice rest. I got a bit of hay fever today as well, so there you go. I was just going to say, make sure you share all your LinkedIn links and keep connecting, and make sure you connect with Eileen Avad too. Now, oh my God, it's Holly Smith time, right? And poor Holly was having a swig of tea or coffee until I interrupted her. So I disrupted Holly because I'll be asking her disruption questions. Now, we love Holly. She's an amazing leader, and I learned so much out of Holly, and she's an absolute inspiration. Now, Holly, I just want to ask you, right? What are your thoughts on what Eileen and everyone have said so far?
I love how everyone's got like their own take on every question. Like, I think that is how we learn. That is how we learn to take action in different situations, because we're learning from other people. And that's why I love LinkedIn. It's just full of people with different ideas, you know? So I love how everyone has said it's the same question, but everyone has their own interpretation. And therefore we can implement them in different areas of our life, because obviously life is a complete journey. Nothing's the same.
Now, on a side note, before I ask you the disruption question, I just want to ask you about your book quickly, because that's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, so, no one has heard of, not many people. It's been a very it's been a long process, and I haven't really launched yet, but I was like, this year I'm going to talk about it.
Well, I was going to say, firstly, I'd be honoured to host a launch party for you whenever you're ready over Zoom.
Thanks.
But second point is, I just want to ask you, now, Holly, and again, we know each other, you know, we're personal friends off camera. We know a lot about each other. Now, Holly, you were a PT pre-pandemic. You were a face-to-face personal trainer pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
so,
it was.
and so I imagine your whole business got yanked off you. So if anyone knows how to handle disruptions, it's you. Tell us how you handled disruptions and what your advice to everyone in handling more disruptions in 2022.
Yeah, I guess like in the past, I used to we all learn, right? Learn and grow every year. But in the past, like disruptions to me meant like just in my head that I failed. It meant that, I just used to dwell on it so much. I used to just have so much anxiety, so much fear, much uncertainty, like all the time. And it was terrible. It was like destroying me, literally destroyed me. Until you kind of get, this is one thing that Adrian Lee really taught me, he's really awesome, is that, you just focus on the things you can control, and to also remind myself that not everything has to be perfect. Like that is I was actually just thinking about it before. I'm going to message him after this and tell him this, but he's always like, he has so much stuff going on in his life, and he just sits there and he's like, it's okay, I'll get it done. And, I've always been the person who has to be like perfect at everything, like has to be perfect, has to be completed before I finish something else, that kind of thing. And I guess in the past, when disruptions come, if it 100% didn't work, it 100% failed. And, it's like, life's over, blah, 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 So I guess learning process throughout the years, it's been just taking a step back and knowing that it's failure or disruptions is part of success. And you've got to accept that. And as soon as you actually accept that, that all these balls that come into your lap when you least expect it, when you want to succeed, you can handle it a lot better, because it's part of it. That's how you grow.
Now, it's funny, your stress response to disruption is very similar to mine. Like, I think we're quite similar, hence why we get along, right?
Yeah.
Now, when let's say a bit of disruption hit you and you'd feel the stress, anxiety, uncertainty, which is unfortunately my response to disruption as well. How do you get yourself out of that stress response mode to that real positive mode that you're obviously absolutely brilliant at?
Yeah, well, it took a long time to train myself to do that, like I believe you train your brain, you can train everything, you can train your body to do anything you want it to. So it took a long time. But I think for me, it was just, again, reminding myself that this is okay. Failure is okay. Disruptions, it's okay. Like, it's not a big deal. It's part of life. It's a part of a journey. It's part of growing. Knowing that those disruptions is something that is going to obviously help me grow as a person. But also I know that I can use that for my copy, for my future clients, knowing I went through this situation. This is how I dealt with it. This is the strategy. Like, I can use it for my business as well. All the disruptions I get, because it's a learning mechanism. But I guess as well, the number one thing that helped me, especially last year with everything going on, just crazy last year with bodybuilding comp being cancelled and trying to find a place to rent's crazy and all sorts of stuff. So one thing was just letting go, like seriously giving it to a higher power, whatever you believe in. I was like, God, I'll give it to you. I just can't do this anymore. Like, and it not until I did that and actually fully let go that I was able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's just amazing. And it's really hard to do that. But again, I think it's just something that, you can try, but it's not until you actually completely let go. Because I was still making to-do lists, trying to take control, blah, blah, blah. But it literally wasn't until I go, no, I'm not even bothered. It's not worrying. Give it to you. It's done. And everything worked out.
That's really good. Now, Holly, it's amazing. We're being visited by a empowerment leader next to me. So can we all wave to Miss Biggie? Hello. There we go. Hello. Now, I was just going to say as well, that's just absolutely no, Miss Biggie. She's all over me. Hello. Now, there we go. I always get taken over. Now, I just want to ask you one quick thing, Holly. Come back to me for your launch party. We'd be absolutely honoured. Can we give a round of applause to you, Holly? It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Now, we want to bounce over to amazing Elizabeth Houghton, who's absolutely incredible. And Elizabeth, firstly, I just want to ask you, what are your thoughts and reactions to Eileen and Holly and what you've heard so far?
Like really mirroring what Holly said. It's so interesting how we're all being asked the same question, but we have so many different responses to that. And that just goes to show that we're all completely unique. Our journeys and our experiences are the things that shape the way we interpret the world and the way in which we deal with things and manage things. And we can learn from that. We don't need to go through the same experiences of other people, but we can learn from their experiences and how they respond to situations to help us at where we are right now.
Wow, extremely well said. Now, I want to ask you, Elizabeth, how have you handled disruptions, and what are your plans for handling disruptions that may and probably will occur in 2022?
Now, there's a quote I love, and I don't know who said it, so I'm sure someone on here will Google and find who said it, so if you do, let me know. But enjoy dancing in the moment. Enjoy living in not knowing, in that disruption, and go with it. Everything, the way I view life is everything happens for a reason. And if we can kind of take that step back and move away from, it doesn't fit into the nice little to-do list we've created, or it doesn't fit into, the smart goal that we've designed ourselves, that we spent hours agonizing over at the start of the year. Actually just enjoy being in that moment and allow that journey to take you where it takes you. So it is really about giving up those tight reins and that control. Stuff happens, life throws you curveballs. You can't predict what is going to happen. And we can do things in ourselves to push our journeys forward through having to-do lists and making up plans. But for all of us, we've been through, something horrible the last 2 years, let's say. But at the same time, it's been really incredible because it's forced us all to kind of think about things differently and enjoy the smaller things in life. Enjoy those tiny moments of, oh, wow, this was actually a really good moment, because we haven't been able to, like Holly's had to change her whole business to online overnight. And she did it. That wasn't what she was planning to do for the last 2 years, but she did it. And it's that thing of going, okay, this has happened. I can't control it, but what can I do about it? And enjoy that process, enjoy that journey. And my other thing for me, I'll tell you a story, and it kind of goes in with why I'm going home for a while. If you were watching the news, and I know lots of people avoid it over the last 2 years, there was this one moment in the morning, I just got out of the shower, I switched on the news, and they'd said that a couple of major airlines had now decided to no longer to fly to Sydney. And I've always lived safe in the knowledge that no matter what happens, I can go to Sydney Airport, get on a standby list, and jump on a plane. And that was taken away from me. And in that moment, I couldn't control that, but I allowed myself to feel that emotion. And I think that's really important as well. When we do have something thrown at us that we can't control, that makes us upset, makes us frustrated, annoyed, angry, whatever it is that's come our way, allow yourself to feel that emotion, feel it deeply, release it, and then you can move on. Because if you don't allow yourself, you don't stop and allow yourself to feel that, you will carry it with you, and it will just get bigger and bigger and worse, and it will actually become your barrier to success or achieving going forward.
Wow, extremely well said. And Elizabeth, I also want to ask you one question as well. And I know you're very, very good at this. When you feel that negative emotion and you allow it to happen, can you expand a bit more on that? Because I love where you're going there.
I think it just depends on the emotion. For me, with that flight thing, what it was, I sat there and cried on my sofa for 20 minutes with my hair still up in a towel straight out of the shower, because I didn't know what to do. In that moment, I'd kind of had that security net that I've had for the 8.5 years I've been here taken away, knowing that no matter what happens with my family, I can always go home. And I just sat in myself. It wasn't straight onto Facebook to have a rant or to phone family. It was purely just to sit there and go, okay, this is how I feel, and I'm going to have a good cry about it, and that is okay. And not judging that, because I do think lots of people are scared to cry, and scared to feel that emotion, because we've been told it's a weakness. As children, when we were growing up, our parents probably told us, there, don't cry. And just sit in that moment and be okay with it. Don't judge it. And for me, it lasted 20 minutes. Yeah, okay, I felt a bit off for the next couple of days. And then I just got to where Holly said to get to, was, that's okay, just trust it's happened. What can you control? What can you? And I couldn't control that. And nothing bad has happened. I didn't need to get on a plane. I just had the security blanket taken away from me. So yeah. And that's with all situations. Like, that's just an example of what I went through. But you can do that with anything, because just take that time, pause for yourself in silence, in that reflection for yourself, before you bring other people in. Because if in that moment when you're feeling a strong emotion, you start to bring in other people, you then get all of their interpretations of your emotion, and that changes it. You potentially don't actually feel your emotion, you feel everyone else's opinion of your emotion.
Oh, that is a brilliant point. And again, I can relate. Can we give an amazing round of applause to Elizabeth? Elizabeth, a big, big thank you. And just as a big thank you. Now we're going to bounce over to quantum coach Karen Clark and then amazing master coach Sonia. As we'll say again to our audience, thank you for being here. Please keep networking, keep connecting, make sure you connect with the boss ladies and connect with yourselves. And I've got to say, really appreciate it. Now, quantum coach Karen Clark, I appreciate you on so many amazing levels. I just want to ask you, what are your reactions to what you've heard so far? Amazing quantum coach Karen Clark. Hit that unmute key, my friend. We want to hear your voice.
So many pearls of wisdom. I respect all of you. Everyone has been so profound. If you want to go back to Elizabeth again, you know, what you've just been talking about with regard to having an emotion or a reaction and letting it, you know, like letting yourself do that or allowing yourself to do that, and then moving on. So, you know, where we have our control is how we respond. And the more that we can respond rather than react. And so the only way we can do that is to notice our reactions, notice our thoughts, notice our emotions. And then if something bad seems to be bad happens, one tip that I give people is to hit the pause button. Like when you first discovered that, you had that emotion, and then you actually hit the pause button and came back to it a few days later. And that's what we say, like, hit the pause button, say, I'm not going to react today. I'm going to make an appointment with myself to review it in 3 days' time, because often we react because we think something's bad and something terrible could happen or something might not happen that we want to happen. And yet all of these things, as I've said before, are our gifts, they're our learning. And at the end of the 3 days, we might find that whole new opportunity has come up that, you know, that will be a solution to that situation. So, yeah, I'm loving listening to all these wonderful people, and every single one of you, as you said also, Elizabeth, has a different spin on the answers. So I'm learning things as well. It's fantastic. Are you still here? Have I frozen?
Ed's struggling with the mute button as well now.
My bad. I'm actually using
You went mute.
I even make the mistake, so there you go. Even Edwards, you makes mistakes. I'm actually using I'm using this new feature of Zoom where you leave it on mute and you hold down the space bar to unmute, so it's like a walkie-talkie. So I'm playing this new feature, which I really like. So less Ed talking. Now, I just want to ask you really quick, quantum coach Karen Clark.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we will face big disruptions in 2022, but we might. How do you personally handle those big disruptions?
Okay, so I'm actually a solutions person. So when something comes up for me, I always look for the solution. That's just the way I am. I'm just like, okay, how are we going to deal with this? And so for me, it doesn't really faze me because I'm focusing on the solution. So I'm already busy looking at the way I'm looking for the gap. You know, as I've told some of you with the motorcycle riding, if you come around the corner, my brother said to me, and there's something in the way, look for the gap. Don't look at the obstacle. You know, look for where you want to go. And so, yeah, for me, that's how I function. So it doesn't really spin me out.
So brilliantly well said. And for those people like myself who get really, and I'm honestly like this, I sometimes get really upset when I face disruption. If you get really upset, much like I personally do at times, which I don't like, what's your advice for handling those extreme negative emotions or those lows?
Well, as I said to you, the only thing we're in control of is our emotions and our thoughts and our words. And so, like, first of all, hit the pause button and say, okay, is this bad? Do I have to make it bad? How can I respond in a different way? How can I get a different result? And then where's the solution for it? You know, if it's like Holly said, it's like building the muscle. We have to learn to do these things. We've got to train ourselves to do these things. We're building the muscle. We're building the muscle of awareness. We're building our muscles of how to reset our programming and our paradigms and all of that. So I would say to you, take a deep breath, hit the pause button and go, okay, how am I going to deal with this in another way? How can I get around this solution, this problem? And you might find that you don't get quite so stressed out.
Quantum coach Karen Clark, we appreciate. Can we all give Karen Clark a round of applause and a big thank you?
Thank you.
Now we're going to bounce over to amazing Master Coach Sonia. Big fan of Master Coach Sonia. And I just want to say, keep up the networking, keep up the sharing. And Master Coach Sonia, I just want to say a big thank you. I want to ask, firstly, Master Coach Sonia, what are your reactions to what you heard and what are some of your thoughts you'd love to share with us?
I've been really soaking it in, and Holly, I'm really proud of your journey. That was kind of a surprise, a nice surprise to hear that you've got a book coming out. And I've been saying for 10 years I'm going to write a book, and I've written a lot of mini ebooks. But I really, my hat's off to you. And I think Eileen, you did one earlier this year, and you guys are really inspiring. So I wish you best of luck with that, and I hope to see what the results are. And then Elizabeth, I can definitely empathize or maybe sympathize with what you went through when you were in that space of, having something that you were so, I guess, taken for granted there, and now it's gone. And now what do you do? It's like you had to figure another way around or do without. And I think this whole last 18 months, 2 years have really made us dig deep as human beings to figure out where our I think as my grandmother used to say, you got to dig deep in your pocket to get your kindness or your feelings, pull out your, I can't remember the saying now, but it's basically, not getting too sensitive and overwhelmed with everything that's happening. And so you've got, like Karen said, is put the pause on. If things are starting to get too overwhelming, we do have the control. We can shut the door and say, not today. Well, we're only positive in, negative out. And so I think it's really tied in well today with reflecting on what we've all been going through one way, shape, or another, and how we've all grown from it, and how we can use it as tools to help us in our lives and in our clients' lives and move forward and make positive progress.
Brilliant and well said, Master Coach Sonia. Now, I want to ask you, how do you personally handle disruptions, and how do you respond in those situations, especially in 2022?
I used to really internalize everything, and because of internalizing everything, I would keep my mind busy and just keep working through and not listening to my body when it might be screaming that it's in pain or something's going wrong. And then I would have to have surgery or go to the ER because I think I was having a heart attack. All of these red flags. I learned not to ignore those red flags. I learned to start putting myself first. And I've learned that we're only one body and we only have one life to live here on this earth. And we got to make it the best that we can. And so just take it one moment at a time, and to not stress out about the little things, and just to try to enjoy and have gratitude for those things every day.
The space bar didn't work. There you go. Master Coach Sonia, so well said. And I was going to say, thank you. One other, we'll be back to you, Master Coach Sonia. Can we give Master Coach Sonia a round of applause? Love your work. Now, I want to bounce over to what we have as closing thoughts. Now, we're going to start winding things up, and we're going to go to all our panelists for closing thoughts. So what I was going to say, my legendary friends, is this. Please keep networking, share your LinkedIn links, and make sure you connect with our speakers. Now, I want to bounce over to Eileen Clark for a closing thoughts. Eileen Avad, what are your closing thoughts, my friends, as the kids take over the place?
Well, from what I heard this morning, everybody has some answers and solutions deep inside them. It's about being able to sit quietly, hit the pause button, or even know what is your sole purpose. So then you can use the best of your ability. There's always some gift deep inside you. Never doubt that. Even if no one sees it, believe it in you. But it's better if you have an accountability buddy who have love and trust for you. They will give you the most give you an opinion that is based on love rather than on judgment. So my closing thought is that sit quietly. If there is any, trust yourself. You will find the gift that you come here to serve.
Brilliantly well said. Eileen Avad, we absolutely love you. Can we give a round of applause to amazing Eileen Avad?
Thanks, Matt.
Great closing thought. And everyone, please connect with Eileen Avad and show her maximum love. Now, I want to bounce over to amazing Holly Smith for her closing thoughts. And Holly, I just want to say a big thank you. Thank you for letting the book cat out of the bag on our Empowerment Summit.
That's okay. No worries at all.
What are your closing thoughts to our audience, amazing Holly?
I think closing thoughts would be like to everyone. Obviously, I really like that. I do this all my coaching sessions as well. Like, and you always want to step away from a situation with something to take action on or to remember. So I think one thing is to take your failures, like knowing that success. If you want to be successful this year, failure and disruptions, it's all part of it. It's 100% all part of it. It will happen to you. Don't think, oh, everything's going to be perfect, because it probably won't be. Let's face it. So that's, I guess, one thing. And I guess when you do get disruptions, like, and you feel, it's like almost being like claustrophobic, like you just feel so like brain fogged and just burnt out, basically. A little thing would be just to take a break. And it's really hard to force yourself to take a break, especially as entrepreneurs. Like, we just want to, go 100% and do really well and what we're passionate about. But it's just, it makes a whole difference getting clarity before you start taking action after disruption. So that's probably my biggest kind of thing to take away this year.
Amazing, Holly Smith. And of course, as well, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask this question. When does your book come out?
So it's in the final publishing stages. So it will be out soon, but I cannot give you a date, unfortunately. Again, it's been like this.
No, I believe you. You are basically writing a book as herding cats. So whenever it comes out, we're going to... I come from an Arabic Iranian background. We have a term called inshallah. And basically, it's Arabic for God willing. Basically, whatever. It's up to God. Don't care. So I'm going to say... So next time someone asks you that, you can just say inshallah, and that fully covers your answer.
I like that, actually.
Inshallah, God willing.
Love it.
Can we have a round of applause to Holly Smith, and a big thank you, Holly Smith. And whenever someone asks me about a deadline again, I'm just going to say inshallah. It's the best Arabic pop out, right from my culture. There we go. Elizabeth Houghton. Elizabeth, you are amazing. Thank you for being such a powerful leader. What are your closing thoughts, my friend?
Wow, there's been so many good things that have been said today. But I wanted to go back to that very first question that you asked us around, well, what are our goals for 2022? And as part of that, I truly believe that it is really important to set ourselves intentions for the year or goals for the year, whichever terminology fits better with you. So you kind of do have a focus, because it's the thing of, if you don't actively plan for where you're going or actively put in steps to go on your journey, you will end up somewhere. So if you haven't intentionally ended up in that place, you may get lucky and you may love where it turns out, but you may not really like where you end up. So do take some time this month to really check in with yourself and ask yourself what it is. What do you want? What do you want to get to in December and say, hey, I did this, I achieved this, I experienced this. And they don't have to be really big goals. They don't have to be, you know, grow your businesses. They can be whatever it may be. You may have something on your bucket list of, I don't know, going to the Blue Mountains when there's snow, and that's something that you want to do this year. And that, if that is your goal, write it down somewhere, have it, set it as an intention. And then very much mirroring what Holly said, as you go through that journey, working towards your goals this year. Be okay if it's not perfect. Be okay if that direction changes, because what sits well with you today might not be what you want in August, and that is okay.
Elizabeth, so well said. Can we give Elizabeth a round of applause? And just a quick question to Elizabeth, I was going to ask you as well. When are you off to the UK? When are you off to take photos of Big Ben and the River Thames and all that?
Not sure I'm going to take photos of Big Ben. But yeah, the 28th of this month. So yeah, 3 weeks now.
Oh my God, I'm going to be following you big time, all your cool photos of that. Elizabeth, we appreciate it.
You want me to do all the touristy things when I'm home?
It's up to you, but personally, yes, I would love that. But please feel free not to. Love your work, Elizabeth. Big thank you. Quantum coach Karen Clark. We're going to hear Karen Clark's closing thoughts and bounce over to Sonia to finish off the summit. And thank you to our audience for being so patient. Keep networking the final moments. And Karen Clark, thank you. What are your closing thoughts?
Yeah, well, I want to add to you something that, Ed, when you asked me, and that's a quote by Henry Ford, and it goes like this. When you ask me about what do you do when, you know, the what you don't want shows up. Here's the quote: when everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. So I love what you've all said. I love, you know, Elizabeth, you were talking about if you don't actively plan where you're going, then you'll end up somewhere, which is so true, because we create our results by our thoughts. And so if we set an intention and write it down, that's so powerful, because truly everything is created twice. It's first in thought, and then it becomes physical form. And so if you keep nurturing your dream, your vision, what it is that you would love, by believing that it's possible, writing it down in the present as if it's already happened, even though you don't know how it will come to fruition. So the challenge for all of us is to think from the results you want to create, instead of always thinking from the conditions that we're facing. So do the process, design how you want the year to go in specific detail, write it all down as if it's already happened. Be brave and think big, and don't worry about not knowing how. It's not your business to know how. That will come. This is how you achieve those goals and those dreams, and focus on it as often as you can. In fact, create a structure. This is my biggest tip. Create a structure to support yourself to focus on the results you want on a regular basis as often as you possibly can. And notice your thinking. Most important, last step, take action, because inspiration without action is merely entertainment. So decide what it is you want. The grounding energy is taking action. What step can I take this week or today to further me towards achieving my goals or my vision?
Karen Clark, brilliant. Can we give a round of applause to Karen Clark? It's amazing. Now, we're going to finish our summit shortly, but before that, Master Coach Sonia is getting the closing thoughts. So Master Coach Sonia's amazing. I was going to say, whilst Master Coach Sonia is delivering the closing thought, please keep sharing your links and stay connected, because it's my goal to not only empower you, but get you all connected so you have those personal networks to win big. So keep connecting in the final moments. Well, we bounce over to Master Coach Sonia for the closing thought. Master Coach Sonia, over to you, my friend.
Oh, hello, everybody. Again, man, this has been awesome. Wow, I feel so much energy and power. I'm so glad that we had this today. I agree with everyone, what everybody has said, 100%. In order to make positive progress in our lives, we have to have a vision, and that vision is followed up by those tactical steps to help us achieve that vision. And so, if we write those down, or, make a vision board. And, that is something that I've been doing the last couple of years. I mean, I've done them for a while, but it's really exciting when you reflect back and look at what you have accomplished. And then, when you get ready to start the new year, it's like putting up the Christmas tree and getting or unwrap the presents on the tree, because you get to okay, what am I going to do this year? And one of the things a word that's been on my mind is the word purge. I am purging anything I don't need, people I don't need, things I take up space that it's here or in my house or wherever. I'm purging, because there's so much that we have been maybe overblessed in some cases to have, or we, in like my case, sometimes I have too much paper. I'm trying to make everything online. So that's one of the things I encourage, is find something that you can turn maybe a habit into something that's more productive. Someone help me out there. I can't think really clear, but just try to be more intentional in what you're promoting for yourself every day. And when you look in the mirror when you go to bed at night, it's like, just be proud. It's like, I did what I said I was going to do today, and I'm proud being me. And this is the kid in me. If you guys are familiar with Zig Ziglar, when I was in 8th grade, we moved a lot. And when I started this class, my homeroom teacher had this saying up around the wall, and she taught, "See you at the top." And every morning she made the class say, "I am super good and I'm going to get better." And we had to say that 3 times every morning, louder and louder and louder. And so the little girl in me still says that every day. And for a while, though, that I had it shut off. I wasn't letting the positive part of me out, because I was so dwelling on the pain in my body, or all the things I had to do. Focus on taking care of you, and celebrate yourself and your wins.
Absolutely brilliant and well said. Can we give a round of applause to Master Coach Sonia? And I want to say a big thank you. I want to bring our summit to a close. So just to let you know, stay tuned. Wonderful Lassie, a big shout out to Lassie. She's going to be working on the next summit. So can we give a big wave to Eileen Avad? Thank you, Eileen. To amazing Holly Smith, we love you. To wonderful Elizabeth Houghton, we absolutely love you, and good luck on your trip. Very exciting. Quantum Coach Karen Clark, and of course Master Coach Sonia. So I want to bid you all an absolute farewell. So the kids are about to come in and destroy my PC and take over. So friends, please unmute, give a round of applause, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
Boss ladies.